All right, go ahead. All right, guys, welcome. All right, guys, welcome to the UnHing podcast today, where we have my co-host to the left. You know,
Oh, Benjamin Harris, excuse me.
they don't know you yet. And then we got our special guest to the right.
Hello.
Yeah. And then we have this dude underneath my legs.
He ain't here right now. That's Savio Fernandez.
I guess he's using his lips for something else. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about firstly to acknowledge we got Benjamin Big Hand Harris in the building, our former wrestler, you know what I'm saying? And we got to the right hand side, we got special guest George.
Hello.
So go ahead tell them about you and your experience boxing and your experience in athletics in general.
Um, I'm currently boxing, training. I'm trying to have an amateur fight, hopefully this year, depending how my knee is looking. Cause right now I have torn an ACL in my knee, so I'm not even
Dang,
sure if I'm gonna be able to box, but it's alright. I'm always gonna bounce back.
dang,
And I'm
you
currently
like 15,
boxing.
man.
I'm 16.
I was just
Oh,
playing. I was bullshit. That's unfortunate. But since you're 16, you do have plenty of time. You do got plenty of time to recover from something like that. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
yeah. I already had surgery once. Who knows if I'm gonna have surgery again? I kind of did damage it. So right now I'm just waiting on results.
Yeah,
But currently I am boxing at Sweet Science Fitness boxing gym,
yeah.
and yeah, that's where I'm boxing currently at.
yeah.
Pretty ironic to name a boxing gym Sweet Science because all that C
Yeah,
all that
that's
CTE. I don't know if they're gonna
yeah,
be.
that's the thing. That's the thing about the boxing gym I go to, because I actually used to go to a different one before.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
used to go to Guerrero Boxing Gym. It was a Mexican boxing gym.
that sounds
And but
tough. I'm not
it
gonna.
it, it that it's based off a city in Mexico actually. So
Oh,
Yeah,
it's I'm pretty sure that's where the owner of the boxing gym is from. So I'm pretty sure that's where he based off the name. But yeah, I used to box there for at least a good 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and then currently I'm boxing at Sweet Science Fitness Boxing Gym, and I I understand the reason why he says the science part, because the basically the different there's a big difference between these two boxing gyms. There's the Guerrero boxing gym was basically more brutal. There was less skill in it. With the Sweet Science one, it's actually more skill into it. They've taught me how to put up my guard way better, throw that jab way more often,
mm-hmm.
yeah,
and honestly, it teaches you better not to get hit. I like it because it's um hit and don't get hit, and it's honestly a really good boxing gym for beginners.
yeah. Because the other one you said, that's why I said it sounds tough. Because boxing gyms like that, they usually just you
Yeah,
get
they
you get
usually
hurt,
just
work harder, type shit.
yeah.
You
And I won't lie. People from Guerrero Boxing Gym do punch way harder than people over here in Sweet Science.
Yeah, but
Uh,
that's a matter. That's more so a matter of effort. If you work, because the thing about it is, a lot of people like to separate science, and a lot of people like to separate science and hard work. They used to be like, "Oh, you don't need science if you just work hard. You just overwork it," or "Oh, you don't need hard work if you just do it scientifically and you work a certain amount of hours." When you just implement both into some kind of, when you just implement both of them, you're gonna have way better results. And then I think that's where the professionals come in. And you know what I'm saying? People like Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira. People who work
Yeah,
smart and hard at the same time, and not just one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah, for sure.
I say people at like
Well,
the Gorilla Gym, they would be worse at the skill like putting the guard up. You know what I'm saying? Versus the people at the Gorilla, they'll be worse at putting their guard up, but they'll be better at throwing the hand because that's more so hard work, less of a skill facet to it.
yeah, that's
oh,
the thing, and also the footwork movement is honestly way so much better.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
teach
Short,
you
short,
to
trick
step
question
in,
though.
step out.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah,
What you
what
say?
is
Yeah,
it?
quick question. So, what was the difference between going in as a beginner to an amateur, between like the career gym you started at and then the science gym that you're at right now? What's that jump like? Because you went from beginner, barely putting up your guard, to being drilled that, now trying to go into amateur. What's that like?
Yeah. So with the Guerrero boxing gym, it they really, I mean, they at first when you enter the gym, they they actually just make you work on your stance.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure if this is for every gym or
Yeah.
maybe some gyms may have a different stance, but
Okay.
both gyms do have a different stance. Uh, the Guerrero boxing gym stance is a little bit more wide.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more wide and more comfortable, while the Sweet Science one is a little bit more awkward. But it's very effective when it comes to jabs. And then the Guerrero Boxing Gym one is more effective when you're
Yeah.
going for the body with hooks or to the face with hooks. So they do teach way differently the stance in the boxing gyms.
Okay, that's good. And real quick, can you break down the terminology? Because we know, because I think we all know, we all have experience fighting, but some people at home may not. Can you explain like the jab, the hook, and all that?
A jab is just a straightforward punch. You just let it go, just straightforward. Try to. It's not supposed to hurt. It's mainly supposed to distract the person, or just you can also use it as a feint. A hook is more like your main weapon that you will want to use to knock out a person. Hook
Yeah.
is just basically turning your hand and hitting him in the body or in the head for an explosive punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, good.
I do prefer the hook because I'd say learning boxing it was more I went to a gym more so like the gorilla gym, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was more so anything a lot of hooks per se. Hold
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, Eric, did you? Yo, hold on. One moment, Eric. We're gonna add you into this. This our other co-host right here, Eric. We're gonna allow him to explain his side of things as well momentarily.
I'm sorry, my phone
I
had
thought
died,
it's all
y'all.
good. It's all
Are
good,
you
bro. It's
cool?
all
Because
good.
it took a minute for us to reset the what you call it anyway, but
Okay.
we're gonna let you go ahead and explain your MMA side as well. And we finna but first, yeah, I went out, going to a gym, the hook was really like the main weapon, especially like
Yeah.
depending on your what you call it. So when you do a straight, because a jab, let's say a jab is the arm that's closer. So this would be a jab that's working shoulder with a little bit of rhomboids, lats. You know what I'm saying? When you throw a straight, it's primarily lats and like rear delt. That's a stronger version. You could do some damage with a straight, but a jab, that'll hardly. That's more so like you said, a distraction. So mainly, we didn't throw a lot of jabs. I'm sure Roland. I'm sure with the current gym, he's going at sweet signs with more skill. It's more so combos, technique, doing jabs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. More combos. Yeah,
Skill.
their main punch over there is mainly the jab, and like you said, for the Guerrero boxing gym one, it's mainly hooks and shit.
Yeah, mainly
And
hooks,
I really
uppercuts. Thanks.
uppercuts. Oh, those uppercuts were deadly. I
Yeah,
tell
because
you.
those work. Those tend to work more muscles, but also they're more rigorous on the body in a sense. So it also makes sense. Like even your hook. You're supposed to involve like your glutes. Straight. It's a pretty straightforward punch. You just punching straight. It's more so a skill technique to use it right, because a hook, if you know that it's kind of like playing a video game. Like you play that person in the video game that they just gonna use the most overpowered technique as soon as it load up. Like
Yeah.
playing Brawlhalla and they just keep tapping triangle.
That's
Triangle.
exactly how the coach from Sweet Science explains most aggressive boxing gyms. He that's exactly what how he puts it as.
Yeah, because that's
And
exactly what
I
it's like.
really agree with you on that statement.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. So really, mostly it's just throwing hooks, throwing uppercuts, things like that, because those do more damage. But also what people
They
don't realize
waste a lot of
is,
energy.
yeah, they waste a lot of energy. They take up a lot of stamina. They're a harder thing to do. So you wouldn't necessarily want to do it until you wouldn't necessarily
Until
want to do
maybe
it.
like at the end of the rounds, mid rounds.
Yeah, and when you have that assurance, you know that you're not going to receive a counterattack. Because also, if you don't knock the opponent out, don't forget, boxing is about the number of hits you get per round, the good hits you get in. So you can throw those uppercuts all you want. If you're not knocking them out anyway, then I can throw these jabs with my 6'8", 6'9" wingspan versus a person with a regular wingspan. I can throw these jabs all day, and then by the end of the fight, you did all of that uppercut and you did all of this. But I'm bracing my core, I'm bracing my back, I'm rolling. You go ahead, you hit me, you probably hit me like right here. But as long as you're not hitting me right here, I'm over here, I'm like this. I'm down here like this. You swinging and swinging. But don't forget, when you up here and I'm down here, it's going to be a lot easier for me to hit you because the body is going to be wider than the head. You aiming at me and I have my head and my arms in the way. But I'm aiming at you and I'm down here. I can see your stomach. I can roll around to the side like Mike Tyson did. If you are going to use your hooks and your uppercuts, you do it in the way that Mike Tyson did when he down on the ground. Oh, you trying to come in, hit the shorter guy, you know. Mike Tyson was already shorter, so it was easy.
I like that. Yeah, because Mike Tyson was a really shorter fighter, and he loved to like close the box. Like that was his stuff. He loved to close the box. Like when he got in the box, he dominated. And like you can see when he was outside of the box, he was kind of confused. Like he had to get in there. That was his place.
Yeah, because you can't be competed with when you already down on the ground. He has so much more mass than you. Like he's trying to get you and you down here. It's work to get down there, but to get up, to get up there, easy, light work. And then he already fast, you know, because he's shorter to the ground and he has more acceleration with those shorter legs. So he going in, and then he come in on your side. He getting your rib cage. He getting your liver. He getting all that extra stuff. So I can only imagine fighting somebody like Mike Tyson. That'll be a nightmare when you actually know about boxing.
Nightmare. I swear, fighting the shorter fighters, low key hell. If they know what to do with the body, it's over. Yeah. It's not fun at all.
Gotcha. All right, Eric.
Yeah, but the difference is
real quick, George. Give me 1 second. All right, Eric, sure. You interjected twice. Who are you to interject? Who we got? Who's the second guest that showed up late on the podcast? Who is you? Introduce yourself, bro. The MMA enthusiast. Go ahead, bro. Eric, you gotta introduce yourself, bro. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm Eric. Okay. I'm Eric. I'm a MMA enthusiast. I love MMA. Like I know most of everything about it. I love MMA. That's what's to describe me.
All right, but what we did with George, we had George explain, you know, some of what he learned, some of what he been through. So we're gonna ask you, how did you start MMA, and then how did you start MMA, and then how has it gone since then? You know, your pathway. Go ahead, give us a little brief of yourself.
I think I started MMA when I was like I don't want to give y'all the wrong age. I think I was like 10 when I tried my like first class, and I was in it for like about a year, and I stopped. And I always loved the sport, but I had lost a connection over the years, and I had found it again, and I just couldn't get enough, and I just started training, and I've been working this year, and I'm trying to start my first fight this year. I have an Instagram account showing all my stuff, like where I've been, like my beginning, and I'm gonna show like where I go to. Like I have a whole like journey Instagram.
Okay, we're gonna make sure to shout that out at the end. But how old are you right now?
You go to? Oh, excuse me. Answer this question first. Never mind.
How old are you right now?
I'm 19.
19. Okay, so a little 8-9 year journey on MMA. Okay. That's a pretty big commitment right there. So what would you say is one of the most important things that fighting has taught you? Eric, and then afterwards, George.
I'm back.
Everybody's a threat.
You said what, Eric?
Not everybody's a threat. Not everyone is a threat. And some people do deserve to catch some hands. That is a known fact.
Okay.
What gym are you signed with right now, or what gym are you going to right now? Eric, excuse me.
Oh, I'm about to switch to SBG, or I've been looking at American Top Team, but I was just at Tsunami with Savia.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Yeah, SBG top team. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. Eric put us on to his story. What you call it? Put us on. So, um, so with that being said, okay, the main point of the podcast, the topic point, you know, Eric had left and then he had briefly left and then he had came back. So today we were gonna mention George and Eric, we was gonna mention the differences between MMA. So Flappy, he kind of like an in betweener.
What's up, my N words?
He,
What's up?
yeah. Oh yeah, our co-host number two, who was gone in the beginning, Savio Fernandez. So
Yes.
we have Eric on one end, you know, the MMA side. We have George on the other end, and we have Flappy somewhat in the middle, along with me and Benji. So
Eric?
Eric,
I'm biased,
he said,
but I won't be biased. I won't be biased today.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will.
If
he
you were to
might.
catch me,
He might.
if you were to catch me,
Better.
if you were to catch me on any other day of the week, I would tell you MMA.
okay. But,
I want you guys to act like you're explaining it to somebody that has no idea about MMA or boxing.
Yeah, there's a big community out there in America who actually have no clue what MMA is, and it's kind of crazy.
Bro,
I think it's
when I
cool.
tell people I do MMA, they say, "Oh, you do UFC," or like they see me
Yeah,
boxing.
I mean, yeah.
They see me boxing or something. They're like, "Oh, you do UFC?" They're like, "Bro,
I probably be one of those people who say,
asking if I did sports, and I was like, I can't even tell him I do MMA because he's gonna ask me what I do.
yeah."
he said, he'll ask me what I do. Okay, so we're going to let George explain his first because George started off. So, George, what do you think is some of the main differences between boxing and MMA? And then what are some of the things that you say boxing can add from MMA to make it, you know, greater as a
Better.
sport? Yeah, make it better as a sport versus some things the MMA can learn from boxing to make it better.
And to make it
Well-
fair, I'm gonna give you like 4 or 5 minutes to explain. Then Eric can go gets 4 minutes. All right.
All right, yeah, that's cool.
All right. Ready? Go.
To be fair, I honestly don't see. I don't want to say which. I don't have an idea or an opinion saying which one is better. They're both. I feel, in my opinion, they're both as equally as good. They both have their differences. Obviously, with boxing, its main focus is being. In boxing, you have to be focused. Its focus is primarily like striking and with your hands, with your fists, your footwork, technique, head movement, and punching power. And some weaknesses is with boxing is obviously the main things are takedowns, kicks, and grappling. And then with MMA, I have no idea with MMA. I don't have too much idea, so I really can't speak on that. But mainly in boxing, you mainly use your fist, footwork, head movement, your power from your hands, hips, legs, and then the technique. Technique is very important when it comes to boxing. You know, so I feel like the differences is the thing I do hate is that most boxers are really making the sport look really bad when it comes to UFC or MMA fighters switching into boxing, and then boxers not doing the same for them. Obviously, we've seen so many MMA fighters switching into boxing. Ben Askren, Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry, and even Darren Till. And the big difference is, I feel like most MMA fighters should only box at least once uh against a okay opponent. They shouldn't they shouldn't be boxing they should box at least once or twice, but I recommend them boxing once because when most MMA fighters switch from boxing, they always end up winning that fight or having a good fight, and then when it comes to the second fight, they just automatically lose by KO or by decision. Most notably, Anderson Silva when he fought Jake Paul. Anderson Silva already had experience with boxing. I forgot its record. I'm pretty sure he was 3-0. I remember one of his opponents being Julio Jr. I forgot who he fought, but he was a really really good boxer. He fought against Jake Paul. He lost by decision, obviously. Tyron Woodley fought Jake Paul. He fought him once, and which ended in decision. But then once they also fought again, they had a rematch. Jake Paul obviously knocked him out. And I feel like the thing we also need to worry about is the weight divisions and the weight of the gloves, because that matters so much when it comes into boxing. The MMA gloves you use 4 ounces, and boxing you use 10-ounce gloves. Usually with the MMA gloves you're gonna be way 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 faster, but with the boxing gloves, you get a higher chance of getting brain damage.
Yes.
We could also have, some other examples being with Tyson Fury against Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou put up a wonderful, wonderful match against Tyson Fury, and he honestly did disappoint the sport of boxing and made boxing look bad as a whole. But here's when it comes into effect when I say MMA fighters should only fight once or twice, and that's it. Because once he fought Anthony Joshua, he got knocked out in the second round, which made boxing look again, which is not it's not only about power, it's not only about it's not only about who's better. It's about technique and everything you need to use. Because he even before he knocked out um Francis Ngannou, he did knock him down 3 times. I'm pretty sure in the first and second round,
Okay.
and that matters a lot. And then Nate Diaz also, he fought Jake Paul. He also did lose that fight, and then later on he would fight Jose Masvidal, which he also did switch from MMA into boxing. So two MMA fighters fighting each other in the sport of boxing, and Nate Diaz lost against Jose Masvidal, probably because the thing is, you could also take a lot of notes from just one fight. Because one fight, even though you would have only one fight, people could actually study those fights, that fight, and they would just expose your weakness, how you put up your guard, how you punch. It exposes everything from one fight.
All right, Jorge. All right, can you real quick just summarize your points? Basically, we're gonna move on to Eric in a second. So basically, in MMA, you're like you were saying that when a MMA fighter transitions from MMA to boxing, they might have issues because like first round they might do well, then round two they might get knocked out. Like some.
Like the first fight, if they ever have a first fight in boxing, they will do pretty well, pretty decent. If they ever have a second fight, that's where they might fuck up, choke up a little bit more,
Ah, okay,
because
I see.
you know
Yeah.
Mainly
Mainly, I think
focus more on striking, right?
mostly focus strikes, and the main reason why I think this is true, because I mean, when you're gonna box, obviously when you're gonna box someone who where you have no video, no nothing, no information about how they box, only obviously MMA, but that really won't help a lot, because MMA and boxing are different sports completely. So you
Mhm.
really can't tell a lot from how they box, right? So I mean, you fight them, you probably won't do as well as you expected, because they might catch you off guard of being how of like showing you what and how and what they learned during that time that they're training to box you. But then if y'all guys are gonna have a rematch, you could always look back through the fight that y'all had, and you're gonna have a way better chance in beating him, because I mean, you finally have information. You know how he strikes. You know his defenses. You know his weaknesses and his strengths. You could always avoid the strengths. You could always find the weaknesses in there. He keeps his hands down when he throws a hook. Catch him with counter him with another hook.
Okay,
Or uppercut him. So
I understand.
that's my point.
All right. All right, Eric, it's your turn. If you want to keep the camera off, that's fine. Oh, you put it back on. All right, Eric, your turn.
All right. First of all, MMA is the better sport, and here's
Oh,
why.
okay.
Okay. I
Here's
like
why.
where this is going.
Yes. I agree. Boxing had its golden age, and I think when it was in its golden age, it was a really good sport. Like it was truly a good sport. And I think what we're missing in boxing is dynamic. We need more dynamics. Like, yeah, it's just about moving head movement and punches, but we need more. I feel like Zaz. We need more. What's the word? Like
Diversity.
influence. Yeah, we need more diversity for sure. And I feel like we need more people switching up their stances. We need new stuff. We can't just keep watching the same game over and over. And it's like we need something new. And I think one of those, what's his name? Limchenko? Y'all know Limchenko? Y'all don't know
Yeah,
Limchenko?
Lomachenko, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
he does a
Yeah,
really
one
good
of the
job of like dynamic. Yeah, I want to see more of that. Like that's entertaining to me. Like how he moves, that is really entertaining. Like that is what MMA brings that boxing doesn't. The dynamics, and that's why it's better. You have people trying to get takedowns and then also getting on their freaking head. I mean, getting on their body and like doing major damage, and then you can't like get that in boxing. Like you can get like these situations where it can be like really ruthless, but it's not that anymore. And I feel like we've lost that age of boxing. We're in like this age of influence boxing, like where people will sign up for millions of dollars to box, and that's not what MMA is. That's why it's at its golden age right now. We're not paying to see people have super fights. We're paying to see actual good fighting, and that's what MMA is to me. And I think that's what boxing is missing. And I also think like what MMA could bring, what MMA could get from boxing is like it's it's um it's what's the word? It's uh structure. Like it's construction. Like I feel like it needs more structure. Like the way you see how Ilya Tapura is, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like we need people to focus on more of their like influence skills. Like I want to see more Muay Thai fighters actually use their Muay Thai in the octagon. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really Muay Thai when they're fighting, and you like I want to see that. I want to see like more of that real martial arts. You get what I mean? And like Ilya Tapora, he does a really good job of like focusing on one thing that he's really good at, like boxing. He found that he was really good at boxing, so he doesn't throw a kick, right? And he's knocking people out. And he found that he was really good at that. He doesn't need to do it. He doesn't even need to take you down because he found one good thing that he's good at. And I think that's what we need more. I feel like people are really sporadic sometimes in Octagon, and they can be really like all over the place. And
Oh yeah.
we need more composure.
Speaking of, how do you think? So the point that George had brought, how do you think the boxing athlete compares to the MMA athlete? Like how he mentioned, like how MMA transferred to boxing. How well do you think boxing transfers to MMA?
How you saying how well the MMA fighter transferred to boxing? Horribly. I think every time like I think it's because they're all over the place. That's exactly what I'm saying. None of them study boxing. That's what I'm saying. Like
No, I said boxing to MMA. He mentioned like the
oh, okay,
MMA.
boxing MMA.
Well,
I don't know.
pointing out that was good. Yeah, that they don't study. I understand that.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet, and I really think they'll like if we have somebody who comes from boxing to MMA. I don't think it would be really good for them because we are really like influential with our like weapons. Like we're all over the place. I don't think they'll understand what happens when they get hit with an elbow. They'll be really confused. Like it's a whole different feeling. It really is. So I don't think boxers would do too well in the MMA octagon.
Okay, fair enough opinion because it's kind of like it's kind of like some sports don't transfer as well as others because it's like boxing is kind of a specialty. That's why you don't see a lot of people. I mean, even though really realistically, I think Francis Ngannou, people like Francis Ngannou, Sean Strickland.
Yeah, Francis did really well. See, yeah, that is. I think Francis did pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, Francis actually took the time, took the months to like put the work in. He trained from MMA. Like, he cut off what he learned from MMA and put what boxing was into his body. Like, he took in that boxing form, and that's what made him so good in that in the ring.
Yep. That's right.
Oh, Eric, to summarize your points, you were basically saying boxing lacks a bit of diversity compared to MMA, and
You're
MMA
right,
is
it
more
lacks-
complex.
Yep,
And you think
it's
better
more complex.
better as a spectator sport to watch than boxing, and boxers don't do well going from boxing to MMA. Is that right?
Yeah, they don't. Yep, that it's.
right.
Those are my points.
All right, George. I'll give you some. You want to refute that? Refute anything? What you got to say?
I do agree with the statement that boxers won't do as well if they do transfer into MMA. Because I won't lie, there is some things that will take some time for boxers to transfer. Obviously wrestling, kicking is a big part into the sport of MMA. But I feel like one thing is I feel like we do have bigger mega fights because boxing has been around for a long time, and MMA is a little bit more of a recent thing. 2000s, a little bit more into it. Boxing has been here for hundreds of years. MMA is barely starting, and I won't lie, it's doing really well and catching in people's eyes and opinion. But I still do think boxing is a little bit more bigger. One thing I do think it's missing though is people ducking each other. And I'm also gonna go back with what Eric said about Lomachenko and whatnot. And I will go back with that statement. Is the reason why we don't have too many boxers, um, boxing like actual using their IQ movement is because most people do not want to see that. I mean, you could take like Lomachenko he was popular in Europe, obviously, right? But over here in America, Mexico, all these places, they're not gonna have that much interest because that's not what they want to see. People want to see knockouts. People want to see all this, all that. Lomachenko was known for his footwork. He was really good with his foot movement. Breaking the angles of like where the person is gonna go. And we could say the same thing for Shakur. I forgot his name. I can't pronounce his name. Shakur. He's also a really, really high IQ boxer, but he is really not known because he really never knocks people out. And that's the thing. People always want to see knockouts. Nobody ever wants to see that boring shit, like cutting off the ring, showing your IQ, jab, jab, jab. Nobody ever wants to see that. People want to see knockouts, and that's where the thing becomes. This is why boxing is so repetitive, because people always want to see knockouts. Nobody ever wants to see that actual skill, the actual agility that they have. Nobody wants to see that boring shit. Everybody just wants to see boxing and people knocking each other out.
Okay. Well, what about? I know Eric did say that boxing may lack diversity, but do you think the depth of boxing and the learning curve of it makes up for its lack of diversity?
You were asking me?
Oh no, I was asking George. Excuse me.
You heard George.
Yeah.
George, you here? Maybe he talking at the moment.
I'll say it does not. It doesn't.
Oh, you don't think
doesn't.
so?
Yeah, no, I don't think it does. Well, let me not lie, because I don't know. Ilya Tapora, if he went to boxing, he would be absolutely a menace. I think, I don't know. It kind of does make up. Like, you could really take over the UFC with just boxing. And, I mean, we've literally watched it happen. So it probably, yeah, it does. It does. I'm taking that back. It does. It definitely does.
Hmm. So, so what do you think allows the UFC to be taken over by something like just boxing?
Because it's such a, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I mean. It's such a
Hello?
structured sport. It's
Oh yeah,
such a
George, you
well
back?
structured
Oh,
sport
my bad. I
that you
thought.
could use that. You could
My
use
bad.
that and you could
It's all
just
good.
take over everything.
Can you repeat the question?
I
I
was
couldn't hear.
Eric. I was asking him, and Eric answered, but I want to get your opinion on it because Eric
Uh,
earlier in the first round said that since boxing lacks diversity, but I was going to ask you, do you think the depth and the learning curve of boxing makes up for its lack of diversity?
the what?
The learning curve and the depth of it, like how much you can learn about boxing, like all the techniques and everything, with simple things like jabs and your punches to footwork, that everything you can improve on.
Oh, you could learn a lot from that. I mean, I heard Ilya Tupor
Yeah, he
in
just
the
mentioned yes, yeah.
yeah, dude. He has good power. I won't lie for his weight division. He has good power. Striking is really good. His jab seems really well. Footwork decent. But like I said, what's his weight division again?
His
Does
name
anybody know?
is what's his name?
Weight division.
45.
It was the word.
45. I mean,
Yeah.
if he fought the people from 45 here in boxing, I don't know. I feel like he would stand a good chance, but he most likely wouldn't win. None.
I disagree with that. Like, I think Ilya has like such a really good boxing form. Like, you really need to watch Ilya box more. Like, I think
I
Ilya,
have. He's really
yeah,
good. I won't. I'm
yeah,
not trying to say he's not bad. He's really good. But what I'm trying to say is those people from 140, 145, they're really high level. I won't lie, most of them do like a little power, but like I said before, it's the skill mindset, the head movement. His head movement is really good at, like dodging real quick and then striking right back is immediately is a big part of boxing. But
yeah.
um, I don't think he will win against any big contenders. Up and coming people for sure he'll have a good chance, but I just don't see him winning any big names here in boxing. Like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Romero, Pitbull. I just don't see them.
You think he can give
See
him a
him
good match
winning.
though?
What?
You think he can give him a good
That would
match
be a hell of a good
against
match.
They would be good matches. Those would be super fights. Like I said, those would be fights that would win, that would get millions.
Yeah,
But I just obviously we've seen it before happen. There are some boxers that have good chances of winning against a boxer, but like I said, most of these outcomes always end up with boxers obviously winning. It's their sport, so I won't lie. Ilya would have a good chance, but he would have a better chance going against an up and coming rather than a superstar like Rolly Romero, Tank, or Devin Haney. Especially Devin Haney. We saw what Ryan Garcia did to Devin Haney, but even though that shit happened, I still do think Devin Haney, with his boxing IQ, would walk down Ilya pretty pretty well. But if Ilya somehow, gets way better with the technique, he would have a really good chance against people in the high levels.
Okay. All right, Eric, you want to get your round two for MMA?
I ain't got much more to say. I agree with that. Like, I don't think Ilya would do much, like, because boxers have literal years on it. Like, Ilya's been everywhere. He's also a jiu-jitsu black belt. We're forgetting that. And I think even though he has a boxing preference, I don't think he would do too well against just pure boxers. Like they're just purebred. That's what they're like. That's what they want. That's what they were made to do. So I mean, I can agree. Like Devin Haney, he has a really good knockout power, and I think he could really hurt Ilya. He probably could.
Okay. All right. Don't know where Nick's gone, but you know what?
Well, I wouldn't say he would hurt
yeah,
him.
go ahead. Yeah.
My bad. I wouldn't say he would have hurt him because Devin Haney really isn't known for having power. He really isn't. He's mostly known as well as Shakur, which is this is where it comes where like where that real boxing shit is boring. Because I mean Devin Haney was also really is as well as good as Shakur, and the thing is like he doesn't have power, so I'm pretty sure basically it will go to decision, but Devin Haney would for sure walk down Ilya.
Okay. Fair point. So that's a good in-depth point about boxing. Something that only somebody who really watches and studies the sport, they'll be able to give the audience a view of. Because I think a lot of people know like the jab and stuff like that, but the amount of knowledge that you just put amongst the audience is one in a million for sure. I'm pretty sure Eric could, of course, give similar knowledge and things like that. As far as MMA, he's been doing it for 8-9 years, so he's one in a million as well. So, but one fair point. So we've heard Eric's point of view on boxing. We've heard George's point of view. So now we're gonna go ahead and get Savio Flappy Fernandez. We're gonna go ahead and ask him his opinion because he said he's non-biased, but I want to go ahead and hear from somebody who does both. So, he's done MMA and he's done boxing. Of course, he met y'all from 2 different gyms. So,
right.
Savio, let us know why do you think MMA has a superiority to boxing?
Or why both are good or why both are bad. And also tell us why you're able to talk about this.
Okay. Well, it depends on better in what context. But I mean, I could discuss this because I've trained MMA for like 4 or 5 years, and I've trained boxing. The first ever like martial art I did was kickboxing, but they had like a lot of boxing work, so I did that for a few years. But overall, I think like if you want a well-rounded martial art, if we're talking about terms of martial arts, I think MMA is better. You kick, you can punch, you can take people down, you can choke them out, you can break the arm, you can break their foot. There's 100 different ways you can hurt somebody.
Oh my!
And boxing, like I know from MMA, I've learned how to break somebody's foot with the ankle lock. I've learned how to choke them unconscious in seconds, how to like take people down, how to punch people, how to kick people. And when I was in boxing, it's a tough sport. I learned how to take a punch.
Yeah.
I learned how to move my head. I learned how to move my feet.
But you're not into that. You like grabbing people and hurting them.
I mean, yeah, like if I'm trying to hurt somebody, just straight up hurt somebody. Like if I'm in a situation, like this was so hard about this conversation. It's so situational, and it's so like it just depends on like if I'm in a life or death situation and I want to know one martial art, boxing or MMA, I'm picking MMA every time because I can know I can kill somebody. Like chokes in MMA are lethal. If I hold a rear naked choke for long enough, for more than a few minutes, the blood flow to their brain is stopped if you stop it for more than 1 minute, they die. So if I can hold that choke for a minute straight, they're dead. So if it was terms of like life or death situation, I'd rather know mixed martial arts. But in terms of like a sport and competitiveness, I mean like looking right now, I think MMA is more competitive because it's so popular right now and there's so many people doing it from all these different countries. And boxing, I'd say like 10, 20 years ago in the 90s or even the early 2000s when MMA wasn't that big, it was golden times. I think boxing was a lot more entertaining because boxers actually used to scrap hard and like fight for real. Now, if you look at boxing matches, a lot of the time it's just like holding and them getting caught in a clinch which is lame as shit. Like, if I wanted to watch striking that was entertaining, me personally, I'd watch Muay Thai because it's a lot more aggressive. In boxing, a lot of the time, if you watch boxing matches today, a lot of it is just jabbing back and forth. And like, I love boxing. I've even thought about going to a boxing gym for a few months to just get better at boxing and go back to MMA, which is something I still might do. Because like, I value head movement and I value punching and speed, being able to take a punch. But like, if I want a better, well-rounded fighter, I will choose MMA every single time.
Okay.
But if I want like a brawler that only knows one thing, it's boxing. Like if it was I had to make somebody that's a perfect fighter and they only knew one thing, it would probably be like, I don't know. Like me personally, if I had to build somebody that knew one thing and they were world class at one thing, it would probably be jiu-jitsu. Because if you take somebody that's world class at jiu-jitsu, they could pretty much do whatever they want to somebody that doesn't know jiu-jitsu. They could take them down, and they can choke them out and strangle them. Now, if you take somebody that just knows boxing and is super good at boxing, like Olympic level, then you take somebody that's done a few years of wrestling and like a few years of jiu-jitsu, and they're not world level in either of those, they gonna get fucked up the minute they hit the ground. All that shit goes out the window.
That's
And like, that's not even me being biased. That's just stuff I've experienced personally. So like, I think MMA is better because it's just well-rounded. That's the only reason I think it's better. I think boxing can be harder at times. I've been to boxing gyms. I'm in there getting hit hard. I'm doing drills in the hula hoop where we're standing right next to each other, beating the shit out of each other. It's hard sparring. It's a lot of concussions, a lot of injuries. Boxing is fucking hard. Those guys are tough. Like, it's a hard-ass sport. Now, I think MMA is more well-rounded. But if you want to ask me what sport is tougher, honestly, I'd probably tell you boxing because those guys take a lot of fucking damage from the sparring they do all the time. They don't spar. They don't spar light. They spar hard. And I don't know the frequency of which they fight at, but I think a lot of boxers, especially in the amateur level, fight a lot. So like that has a lot of wear and tear on your body. So like overall, what sport is like tougher? Probably boxing. What is better if you want to survive in a survival situation where somebody's attacking you? MMA. What's more skillful? I would say MMA because you have to know multiple things. Like boxing, you have to be smart with head movement, moving your feet, and timing a punch. But in MMA, you have to be able to stop a takedown on your feet. You have to be able to time a punch. You have to be able to take a punch. You have to be able to get kicked hard as shit. You have to be able to check a kick. You have to be able to stop people from choking. You have to know jiu-jitsu. You have to know jiu-jitsu. You have to know wrestling. You have to know boxing. You have to know Muay Thai. You have to know kickboxing. Like, these are the 4 or 5 disciplines you have to be good at instead of just one. And that's just to be a decent fighter. To be a decent fighter, you have to be good. And by good, I mean like 70 out of 100. You have to be good at all those. Like, when I started doing real MMA fights, like with bigger opponents and shit, dude, there's levels to this shit. Like, you have to be good at each thing before you are good at one thing. Like, I have to be 70% good at stopping a takedown, which I am because of wrestling. 70 good at doing a takedown because of wrestling. So I already checked that shit off. Then I have to be 70% good at jiu-jitsu, which I am because at my gym, Tsunami, I would roll with the purple belt every day. I mean, not every day. 2 days a week, every week for 2 hours. And we would just do one-on-ones. So I got good at that, 70%. Then I had to be 70% at Muay Thai, which is striking. So I did that for a few years. And that was just to get to a level where I could win some fights. That's not UFC level. That's not championship level. That's not Olympic level. That's not any of that. That's just to start out in winning some fights, 3 fights. Like, I had to do all that training just to get to 3 now. So, like, boxers, there's a lot of guys that could do boxing for 6 months and win some amateur fights because they're just talented. Like, MMA, you have to take time to build a base. Like, you have to have a base in either boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, or wrestling, or jiu-jitsu. Like, you're not going to find an MMA fighter out there, I can guarantee that is at a high level, that didn't have some sort of base. That didn't have a base of boxing, or jiu-jitsu, or wrestling, or any of that. Because, like, you have to be disciplined in one of those before you can learn everything else. And that shit takes years usually. Like, wrestlers are taking over the UFC because they have a base you have a base. Everybody thinks, oh, they could just hold you down. Yeah, that's a big factor. These guys have been cutting weight since they were probably in middle school. You have to cut weight in wrestling. That's a huge factor because you have to cut weight in MMA. A lot of these guys are losing 10, 20 pounds in like a week, and we already do that in wrestling, so we're already used to that. So that nobody talks about that factor. Joe Rogan did because he's an MMA like commentator. He knows everything. That's why. That's a huge component that people don't talk about. Wrestlers have been cutting weight their whole lives pretty much, so they already got that out the bag, which a lot of MMA guys can't handle. Because cutting weight, you feel weaker, you move slower, you're more fatigued. It's a lot. It's brutal. It's a mental thing too. Like you feel like crap when you cut weight. So that's one thing. 2, they're used to practicing like 5 days a week. 3, they're used to getting grabbed, which is like something new. So like a lot of boxers, like George, you cut in for a second. You remember? So if you want some little context, me, Eric, and George, we had like this whole fight thing at our school, this like little underground fight club, and George was gonna do an MMA fight. So I talked to him because me and him were good friends. I would go up to him with him to the wrestling mats at our school for like a few days a week, and we would just train. I was teaching him how to take people down, how to choke some people, like how to do basic MMA shit, because he already knew how to strike. I was teaching him how to throw a leg kick. That's what I taught him. I taught him how to throw a leg kick, how to do a throw, how to take people down, how to stop a takedown, and I taught him some chokes. So like, George, tell them what your experience was as a boxer when I started throwing you and doing all this crazy shit to you.
Man, that shit was weird as fuck. No one's gonna lie.
I remember, bro. I
So,
slipped one of his punches, and then I threw him on the ground and put him in an arm.
Dude, that it was like at first it probably won't be painful. You're just gonna be confused after 1 or 2, 3 seconds. You're just gonna feel the pain after that, and
so,
it just goes downhill after that, and you're just fucked. You don't know what to do, and it's true. You're a
so wait,
boxer, you know you're
George.
gonna.
So wait, you like getting thrown around? You like?
No, it just fuck, bro. That shit was weird. You just don't know what to do. You're a boxer. They throw you. You're on the floor. They have your arm, the main thing that you use. You don't know what to do. It's weird. It's really weird, and especially like, you can have the best gas tank ever, and then just one perfect throw to the floor. It just takes out all your air out, and it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hurts a lot. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've I've experienced it. Fuck. That's one fucking pain I don't want to ever feel again.
Yeah.
But
So he
yeah.
knows. I was just telling him to say because he wanted to do an MMA fight against somebody, so I wanted to teach him some MMA. So he experienced what it was like to be a boxer that didn't know it, and like he like just wasn't used to getting grabbed and the submissions because like you could be amazing boxer, but when somebody grabs you or leg kicks you, it's completely different. Like it's completely different, and I can experience that as somebody that like when I didn't know any like when I did Muay Thai before I ever started wrestling. Like that's all I knew as a martial arts thing, and I started wrestling 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember my first practice we had this senior and he was super good. And we did a drill where it was literally 2 people versus him. You weren't trying to take them down. You were just trying to touch his foot. All you had to do was touch his foot. I couldn't even touch the guy's foot. Like, I couldn't even touch his foot. Like, it's a completely different thing. It's like being a fish out of water when you start, like, transitioning into other martial arts. It would be the same thing if I was to, like, go to a jiu-jitsu class and not learn Muay Thai. Like, there's just, like, so many different things that you have to learn. That's why MMA is so much more difficult. I also think MMA is a lot more difficult to come into. Like, you have a whole amateur circuit as a boxer. Me and Eric know this as people that are active in the MMA fighting community. Like, it is hard to get an MMA fight. Like, it's hard. It's hard.
So hard.
Boxing,
It's hard.
boxing, you have like Golden Gloves. You have all these organizations that are dedicated to teenagers and to people that are just starting out to get fights on the record. Like, that's a whole thing that's been there for years. MMA, bro, I had to ask so many coaches, so many people, so many websites, so many different things just to get a few fights. Like, they don't happen often. And like, there's so many things you have to do and so much shit that goes on to just get a few fights. So like breaking into like the PFL or like one or anything, like it's hard. It's because it's hard to get amateur fights. Maybe it's just the state we live in, but like shit, I know from my personal experience, getting started was brutal. Like it
I
was
mean, I think
hard.
it's because of the state. I really
Honestly,
think
it might be that.
yeah,
I don't know, but like Georgia has a lot of gyms. Like I don't know. Maybe it's the
but it
state.
doesn't have fight. It doesn't have good fighting. Like,
I mean, I feel like maybe if we lived in Vegas, it'd be easier, or like California or somewhere. But like,
it definitely is. My sister told me.
yeah, if it's easier there, I mean, but I think even if we did live there, in general, I would still say it's harder.
So look, starting from scratch. How many 170s you think I can beat in your fight club as an adult male at your high school?
Bro, 170, you can make 170.
No, I said how many 170s you think I can beat in my current weight? Like no weight cutting. Just I go to the fight club. I hop in as a 210-pound grown man, and then
don't ever get somebody that's 170.
yeah, at your fight club. Yeah.
40 pounds every. Who's at 170? George, weren't you at 170 at one point?
I was 180.
Yeah, you 180. Oh, yeah, I think George would fuck you up.
Oh my.
You think George will mess me up? Dang, man. Man, I thought I had a chance, man. That's crazy.
Oh, no
Dude,
chance.
and honestly, I'm really glad I have that experience between an aggressive and a strategy boxing mind, because now not only I have strategy, but I also have aggressiveness, so it works out so well in
Yeah,
boxing.
that's something that like I've trained at different gyms. Like that's something that I wanted to do because me and Eric have trained together a lot. So if any of you guys want to talk about that, we can talk about that another time. But like one thing about me and Eric's gym, not even just our gym, the martial art we did for striking, Muay Thai, which is the art of 8 limbs. You can elbow, you can punch, you can knee, and you could kick. So that gives you 8 different weapons. We could go over that for a different time, but that's what we did. And in boxing, it's a lot different because you have 2 weapons, and you could close the distance a lot better. One thing that I knew about Muay Thai is I got really good at it, like technically. Like I could do all the kicks, I could do all the punches, I was fast, I was conditioned for it. Like I got to a decent level. But the thing is that I noticed with Muay Thai is I wasn't like you don't get that aggressiveness from the sparring and like the closing the distance skills. And Eric could probably say the same thing. Like we sparred hard because it was just me and Eric. But like typically in Muay Thai, you're not going hard. Like in the fights, yeah, they're aggressive because they're really high level. But like boxing is way more like you get that aggressiveness. You get that like going hard kind of haymaker. Like you know what I mean, Eric? Like in Muay Thai, we're going hard, but like we're not scrapping for real. You know what I mean? That's why I was gonna go with
I
boxing.
can tell. Like I've seen like boxing like sparring, and it's just way
Yeah, like
different.
they're scrapping and they're close to each
trying
other.
to kill each other. Yeah.
Yeah, like boxing, they're scrapping and they're close to each other. But Muay Thai, when me and Eric go hard, it's hard for us to even get close to each other because we just kick the shit out of each other if they get like more than 2 feet in front of us. So like it's a lot more technical, but like we can't go as hard because we have so many different weapons. Like if he gets too close,
That's where I think MMA shines. Like when we're sparring, it's like it's way more technical, and we're trying to like we're trying to make each other better. And I feel like when you're trying to kill each other, it's just not gonna work.
yeah, you definitely
okay.
you definitely don't get better from shit like that. Like you have to spar people better than you to get better in general, and you have to go hard at certain times. But like if you're just doing that every day with no technique, no like head movement, none of that, you're just gonna end up with a bunch of brain damage, like dead ass. You're not gonna fucking be good at anything. Like you don't benefit from that, but
Yeah, it's
you want to pull some of that aggressiveness from it, like being able to close the distance. It's like the one thing that I really like about boxing is closing the distance. Like Muay Thai, they're not very good at that because there's kicks involved. That's how you close the distance: your teep and your jab and your kicks, your high kicks. Like that's what you use to close the distance. You don't use punches usually. So like that's what I liked about boxing is like as a wrestler it helps me too if I was a good boxer because if I'm closer I can take you down easily. Like but Muay Thai I can kick you from far away, which is good. But like I like if it was when it comes to like pulling stuff from other martial arts, if I could pull something from boxing, it would be 2 things. It would be the head movement and it would be the closing distance. Like, that's something that's not drilled in us in Muay Thai. And I know Eric has probably experienced this. Like, I talked to Benji about this when I was teaching him, like, head movement. Muay Thai does not teach good head movement. And that's a big reason for that is we can't slip and roll in big movements because there's always a threat of the head kick. Like, the first couple weeks I did Muay Thai, I would always slip too far to the right, and my coach would be like, I can kick you in the head. So, like,
yeah, like make those small mistakes, right?
Yeah, like, that's why head movement isn't big in Muay Thai, because you can get kicked in the fucking head if you slip too far or if you roll too deep. Like, if you go too low when you're rolling, like you do in boxing, like, they be rolling deep. They go like, you know, like, they make the U. If you do that in Muay Thai, you got the threat of getting kicked in the head or kneed in the head. So, like, if it was something I could pull, like, I had to adapt my head movement. Like, I was learning boxing head movement for a couple months, and then I had to adapt it to Muay Thai. Like, I can't slip and roll as dramatically as I would in a boxing fight because there's a threat of getting kneed or elbowed or punched and kicked. Right. So, like, if I could pull a head movement,
okay,
it'd be
real quick. I hate to interrupt. Real quick, Nick, what's our run time? How long can we?
We just hit an hour, but I do have a few questions, a few fun questions for y'all because we basically get the gist. You know, Flappy. You know, he said, you know, what you call it. Boxing brings its fastest, but you know, at the end of the day, if it's one-on-one, you want MMA. Understandable, because I wouldn't want to just punch somebody when I have two legs. I have two legs as well. Like, I have two legs. I have, you know, different muscles and different facets that I can utilize besides just punching and jabbing and crossing. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely understandable. Eric's on the same boat. You know, Romero says 50-50. So I guess what we get from this is MMA just better to understand for a one-on-one fight. You know, it's better to be in a predicament and know MMA because you got to know a little bit of everything. So with that being said, you know, with Romero being, with George being more of a boxer, Flappy being, Savio being more of a middle of the road guy, and then, you know, as far as we know, Eric said he's, you know, MMA enthusiast. Okay. How many fourth graders do y'all think y'all can beat in a fight?
Oh, bro.
100 fourth graders are dying.
Serious question.
George, how many fourth graders can you take out, bro?
How many fourth graders you got, George?
We need to know, bro. We need to know the boss rate numbers.
He might be counting.
Oh, okay. All right, now he right there. All right, what's up?
Wait, change the question. Imagine all the fourth graders are Samoan.
Oh, that's different.
All right, let's hear the answer, George.
I don't know. I don't even know how many normal fourth graders I could take on. It depends. It honestly just depends how they are. You got some fourth graders that are acting like thugs. You got some jolly ass fourth graders. You know, you really don't know.
Oh, jolly ass fourth grade.
Jolly. I mean, ain't that how you're supposed to be in fourth grade?
You're not wrong.
Like, there's some fourth graders that be acting like thugs, you know, like you really don't know. Like, I mean, give me like a specific type of fourth grader, like I'll let you know.
All right, so I'm gonna give 3 categories. All right, I'm gonna go regular fourth grader, YN, and then YN Samoan fourth grader. YN Samoan.
Wait, what's up with the Samoans? If you don't mind me,
I mentioned it because he mentioned it because they big and black. But yeah,
no, Samoans aren't black, bro. They're islanders.
Bro, that's black. They have afros, like they black. They're slaves.
They dark skin.
Nah, they brown skin. They just have afros. You know, like Caribbeans have afros and stuff. They just lighter than regular black people. But yeah, they like big, like The Rock is Samoan. The Rock, Roman Reigns. Yeah, they like less black, bigger.
They're abnormally large and strong, though. Like always.
Yeah. But yeah, what you call it? They like black people that traded some of their stamina for strength. You know what I'm saying? That's why they play rugby. They traded more stamina They traded running from the police to tackling the police. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, bro. Hi, bro.
But so YNs, Samoans, YNs, and regular fourth graders. How many YNs do you think you could take, George?
Lions.
Yeah. They have no switches, by the way. No switches.
No switches. They just aggressive.
Yeah.
They're just aggressive as fuck and fast. Why? They're for some fucking reason they're always fast as fuck too.
They gotta run, bro. Shot at it.
They gotta run. Gee. So how many do you think you can take?
Yeah. It was a fun.
At least 20. 20.
At least 20. 20.
No, YNs don't know how to fight though.
Yeah, but like
YNs?
it's the here's the thing. Like it's a different. Like obviously they're not gonna know how to fight, but will you win against a 2-on-1 if it was about the same person as you? You know, you also got to think about that. How many normal people can you take, and then thinking about it into fourth graders.
Wait. Are they all coming at me at once? Or I knock out one fourth grader and then another one?
If it's a 1v1, like run the gauntlet, that's not fair.
If it's a 1v1 like tournament style with YNs,
it's gonna be forever.
It's a matter of
forever.
So it's gonna they all running at you. They all
fuck up like 100 YNs in there.
They all running at you though.
Does my stamina reset after every YN?
Nah.
You gotta keep the same stamina.
You gotta keep the
Okay,
same
I don't know. I think I could do 25, then I'm tired. Then they might get me.
Nah, they all coming at you at the same time.
Fourth grade.
All right, Eric, what you saying, bro? What you saying?
Saying like I could at least knock out 30. Like they definitely gonna be smaller than me. Like I'm elbowing fourth graders. Like, they just not getting.
It's not like they
Fourth
graders pretty big. I ain't gonna lie. Fourth graders. I mean, they're not big, but like.
Especially YNs. I don't think YNs got nothing on me. Like YN fourth grader, nah.
Like let's say 100 of them running at you, right? How many you taking out? That's the situation. Like 100 running at you.
Straight. At least 15 straight before I have to go.
Shut up, Eric. I'm elbowing a fourth grader.
Yeah.
For everyone watching, and listening, we do not condone violence. We do not condone child violence.
I condone
Well,
violence.
I do. I
Crash
condone.
out.
Especially on kids.
And women.
Whoa, Diddy. Look. So wait.
Hey, bro, you can't be talking about Diddy. This whole group chat is called the Diddy Party.
Yeah, because of headshot, bro. It's not us. That was Nick.
Our host.
That was Nick. No nonsense.
I did not name it that. I did not name it.
Bro, you did name it that. He wanted to call the podcast the Diddy Party, bro.
I wanted to name it that, but look, I did not name the group chat this. This is my cousin. This is the tall dude. You know the tall dude in the photo, Savio?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, AJ. He named it the Diddy Party.
I got tears in my eyes, bro.
But yeah, so last thing, okay. Eric said he's taking out 15 YNs, 100 of them running at him. He's taking out 15 YNs. Flappy, how many YNs you taking out? They all running at you. No reason.
Okay, all running at me at once.
Yeah, fourth grader. Keep in mind, they're not kindergarten. They're not Google.
Fourth graders are YNs.
And they got no weapons.
Fourth grade YNs, like they are.
Fourth grade YNs is crazy.
Yeah. That's the situation.
Oh, okay. I thought these were two different groups. Fourth grade YNs, I'd give it 20, 25. Because, like, at a certain point, they're just going to jump on top of you. Like,
that is very.
But you think you're taking out 20 before they all jump on you, though?
I don't even know, bro. I probably can't take out that many before they all jump on you.
Kick them in the face. I think if I have good distance, like
look, what if I just, like, hold out my fist and just spin in a circle, right? Like,
but they all
go up and down. So
oh no, they're short though. Yeah, they're short.
Yeah, they all zombies. Like they all zombies. They just running at you. They're not gonna see you punch one and then they gonna bag back. They all like jumping, like they all on that Walking Dead shit. They all jumping on you together.
They just jumping on you and like biting and shit. Fourth graders probably biting.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but they're YN, so they wouldn't bite. They're not in that sissy shit. They're probably just gonna full on just slap you and swing.
Yeah, so how many you think you taking out? They all running at you, jumping on you. Like one of them get knocked out. Like usually, you see the first dude get knocked out, you step back a little bit. Nah, they like zombie mode. They like, you done took my fruit snacks type of shit. So they all jumping on you and shit.
Oh.
They all jumping.
They just running over the nigga that fucking got down.
15.
I think I mean 15, bro. I mean, I'm
15.
being real. Probably 15. I mean, I don't even know, bro. That's because like
How many?
10 of them can just pile up on you, and then there's really nothing you can do.
How many you taking out, George? How many? Yeah. How many?
All I gotta do is just jab and back away, jab and back away. But like at a certain point,
But
like,
they running at you though, because you
They're
go.
running that shit,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're just gonna surround you.
Yeah, they just they gonna
just 1-2 that motherfucker, you know. But
what?
but I'm gonna be honest, like 13, 15, 20, somewhere around there. But like what Savio said, they're just gonna jump, and I already have enough experience with people jumping me, so fuck that. So yeah, like
Okay.
around
Okay.
15.
Realistically, Eric, yo, go. How many you say you take out? They all running at you. They zombie mode. That you done took their motherfucking peanut butter jelly and they fruit snacks. They're not playing no games with your ass. They going straight in on you. How many you taking out?
They're not playing no game. I don't know, but I'm the type of person to not play no games either, though. Like I don't give a that I just took your peanut butter jelly. Like, like I'm gonna knock you out still. So I mean, I don't know. I'll probably get if before they get really really angry. I'll say like at least 15.
At least 15. All right.
Okay. I'm gonna be realistic.
All right, Nick. Yeah, Nick, you go. What's your answer, Nick?
I mean, I'm not gonna fight them. Y'all already talking about fighting them. First thing, they're not gonna catch me, so I'm gonna run. We gonna go straight to the cafeteria. You know all them tables in there. I'm just gonna start throwing them shits at them. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna get behind the tables and I'm gonna start crashing them into kids, and then I'm gonna take out at least 4 per table. It's like what 20 tables in the cafeteria, and then I'm gonna use my objects because like keep in mind you punching them like you have to one punch him. Imagine that one YN you punch one time and he's still standing. Another YN is already on your left side. That's one on your body. That's 50 pounds. That's at least, no, 4th grade is like what, 80 pounds? That's one 80-pound person hanging from your arm. He done jumped on your ass. He finna bite you. And then while he biting you, another 4th grader pulling up, he finna bite you. So you can't just like punch. Yeah, they ain't playing with your ass. Like they gonna hurt you by any means. Like you know what I'm saying? They jumping on your ass.
Wait. So this just changes my answer because I mean you didn't mention it was in a school because you know like if you would have said that then damn I could take on forever.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like I would be running around the school and I'll just like I'll just try to survive. Like
I thought you were talking about like I thought you were just talking about like you're just in a square box, empty. They're just running all on you. Like all you guys just yourself to defend.
You gonna die in that situation, but really I'll pick up a knife because all you gotta do, you gotta pick up a weapon long enough.
No weapons on your side.
Bro.
That's not fair, bro.
No.
You got their 4th grade bodies, bro. That's crazy.
I don't even think I need a weapon.
Bro, you're gonna murder a 4th grader?
Keep in mind, a 4th grader.
That's wild, bro.
Wait, guys, what?
All right, real quick before we get canceled. All right, final thoughts before we close out this show. This was a really good episode.
Warning, guys. My phone might die. My charger's horrible.
All right. What you at right now?
That's so real.
It's 2%.
All right, let's close out right here. All right.
All right, let's go.
All right. Headshot. Go ahead.
All right, you know, it's the outro. You know, it's been a great episode. Co-host number 1, Benji. Go ahead, shout yourself out. You know.
All right, like you know from last episode, if you're new here, my name is Benjamin Harris. I'm on Instagram at BeijingSage, on YouTube BeijingSage. You can find me on YouTube as well at Marshall Minds.
Okay. Co-host number 2.
All right. Yep. If you're new, my name's Savio. They call me Flappy. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's savio.fern6, and then YouTube Marshall Minds. We post martial arts content there. So.
Yes, sir. Just got his check mark. Yes, sir.
Oh, good.
George.
All right.
Eric.
With our first guest, our second guest that joined a bit late, Eric, please introduce yourself before your phone dies.
Yeah, we gotta make sure Eric get his out.
Yeah, Eric, where can they find you, Eric?
Eric, where you at?
Oh,
I think his shit died.
His phone already died?
Shit dead. All right, I got you. Eric, you can follow Eric at Sexy Black Man 68. Swear to God, this is Instagram,
That
babe.
is his handle. That is his handle.
That is
Oh, my.
Instagram, babe.
Oh my.
And then, all right, and
That
then
was
George,
Chris's.
our first guest that joined, that was so patient with us. Introduce yourself. Where can they find you?
Just on Instagram, George with a J _just _purple, my favorite color.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
He got a chill username. You know, George pretty chill. I ain't gonna lie. But
Yes, sir.
all right, y'all. Been a great episode. Great topics. Hopefully we'll have these guests on again. You know, I like these guys. So, but besides that, we're gonna go ahead and see y'all. And then peace out.
Peace out.
Peace.
Uh,